Have you ever watched one of the Leprechaun films and thought, great concept, but it's a little too intelligent for my tastes? Or have you ever watched one of the Leprechaun films and thought, shouldn't the Leprechaun be taller and difficult to understand?
The devil spawn took it.
Well, if you answered yes to either of those questions, I have the movie for you. It's called The Leprechaun's Game, and it's magically ridiculous. We begin with two girls in a parking garage. They're on the run because they stole this bag of gold. One of the girls wants to give the gold back because something has already killed their friends, and she's worried that they're going to be next.
But the others didn't make it, okay? And I feel really shitty about that.
The other girl is like, yeah, but gold?
I'm not giving up this gold.
Unfortunately for them, the leprechaun magically appears in their back seat.
What's going on?
And he wants his gold back.
Give me gold.
Which, look, if a magical demon was killing my friends and suddenly appeared in my back seat, I'd probably just give him the gold. But these girls, they make the gutsy decision to just sit there, doing nothing. The leprechaun just says, screw it, and blows some sort of green leprechaun magic into one of the girls' eyes.
Can't see.
So this girl is blinded by leprechaun magic and finally decides to make a run for it, except she just sort of falls out of the car and starts crawling. You know, one of the common effects of losing your eyesight. Wait, so she can see? The other girl tries to make a run for it, but conveniently stands against this wall and... Amazingly, this is the least stupid murder in this entire movie. So after this, we meet Carl and his girlfriend Misha. Misha has just told Carl that she's pregnant with his baby, and Carl's all worried because their financial situation sucks at the moment.
I'm gonna abort the kid.
No.
So Carl gets a call from Marshall, who's his former partner in crime, like literally. Apparently Marshall and Carl and their friends who we're going to meet later used to be in a crew of small-time crooks. Carl is trying to put his criminal past behind him.
Christ, we almost ended up arrested.
So this is supposed to be an important scene that kicks off the story, but for some godforsaken reason, the filmmakers decided to drown out the dialogue with...
I've got one film coming, some type of collection or something like that.
Some of the worst music I've ever heard? Who would listen to this on purpose? So they go to meet this rich guy named John, who looks like a bargain Hugh Grant. John fills them in on the details of the mission.
Over the years, I've collected such trophies as Bigfoot's claw, a Yeti's fur.
The sack that holds the Easter Bunny's bollocks.
The sack
Oh my god, I was joking.
that Krampus used to collect his children.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the rainbow is his gold. I want you to go and collect it and bring it to me. These are dangerous beings, creatures that we are dealing with.
He offers them £100,000 if they find the sack of gold. If they don't find anything, they'll still get £1,000 for their efforts.
No leprechaun exists.
Listen, you know that as well as I know that. Let's just get this grand and off.
Which is a perfectly logical plan, except...
Well, I'm hearing it's a little risky one. So I'm thinking we hire a couple of local lads.
So let me get this straight. Marshall and Carl think John is crazy. They don't believe in leprechauns, and they don't think the gold exists. They agreed to do this to pocket a quick $1,000 and call it a day. Except, they still decide to go look for the gold. And they decide to take additional crew to help them in the search because John told them it would be dangerous since they would be dealing with dangerous magical creatures. So Marshall and Carl are willing to split their paycheck to pay for help in dealing with a threat they don't think is real, while searching for an item they don't believe exists instead of just pocketing the grand for themselves. Somehow, they actually find the literal end of the rainbow in a nearby forest. We meet Marshall and Carl's old crew, Tim, Mick, Nell, and Ruby, and then Marshall goes over the entire plan.
Find the end of that rainbow, you'll find yourself a sack of gold.
So they all scatter through the woods to search for the leprechaun's gold, and this shit is hilarious. This is a group of so-called professionals that Marshall hires specifically to help him search for this gold. And these professionals employ such professional strategies as tossing around random twigs, and sort of moving a single branch. And that's when they're not bickering about their shared past.
I could have ended up in prison.
Yeah, well, you didn't.
Meanwhile, Marshall finds the gold himself without any effort. Now, if I'm Marshall, I hire these people to help me out, and I see that they're just tossing around twigs without even trying. I'm not telling them shit.
Hey guys! Guys! Over here!
But Marshall is honest, and he tells them he finds the gold. But he also decides, instead of bringing it back to John, they're going to keep it for themselves and try to sell it.
It's about $500,000. Like, that's 100K each.
So, $500,000 divided 6 ways is 100K each? So they split up the gold and go their separate ways, and now the killing begins. First up, Mick, who goes home and tells his girlfriend about the money.
Just 100K.
They celebrate with some cuddling or whatever. Mick goes to take a shower, and the leprechaun magically appears in the same room as Phoebe. So there's a weird trend I've noticed in a lot of these super low budget horror movies, particularly the ones that are shot in the UK for some reason, where someone is getting threatened or murdered and they don't make a sound. They don't scream, they don't cry, they don't yell for help, like nothing. And this is one of those moments. This woman is being grabbed by a creepy leprechaun dude, and she's not yelling for her boyfriend. Then, the leprechaun blows some magical leprechaun powder in her face, which seems to burn the skin right off her face. Oh, this burning flesh smoke is really triggering my asthma. What is this stupidity? Girl, your face is on fire! Why aren't you screaming your head off? So Mick gets out of the shower, and he finds his girlfriend with her face still melted off and on fire, and he's just... There's something different about you. I could have sworn you had a face before. Seriously, what is this reaction? So Mick tries to run, but the leprechaun pops out and stops him with some sort of superpower. Okay, dude, seriously? You just found Leprechaun's gold, and now there's a monster dressed as a leprechaun in your house? I mean...
What do you think, pal?
Is incorrect. So then the leprechaun kills Mick with some sort of magical Shrek filter and collects his soul in this locket. Meanwhile, Nell has just spent her newfound fortune on a big shopping spree.
I think something's after us for what we did.
So Nell looks around this car, and the leprechaun is staring right at her, but she still decides to try and stealth her way around the car, except she tries to bring her armful of shopping bags with her, which leads to this insane sequence of events where she's trying to sneak past cars with all these stupid bags, like she's playing some sort of Metal Gear shopping sim. The leprechaun manages to sneak up behind her, and I think we're meant to believe he slashes her Achilles tendon. Except she's wearing these thick Doc Marten style boots, so I mean, how? Nonetheless, this attack finally gets Nell to abandon her shopping bags, and I'm sorry, what is this walk? Does this actress not know how limping works? What is she doing with her hand? So Leprechaun knocks her down. What is that reaction? Are you playing dead? Then we catch up with Ruby, who's visiting this hippie guy who's supposed to be some sort of spiritual advisor because she's worried about the repercussions of stealing the leprechaun gold.
And you'd like me to consult my spirit guide to see if anything comes through?
Yes, please.
Somehow this guy looks at some tarot cards and can immediately tell Ruby specific things about her problem.
He is an evil entity, of the oldest kind. He spawns from the ancient valleys of Ireland.
You're not making much sense.
Black magic!
Oh, well, that was a bit aggressive.
You are in danger. You must protect yourself.
He even tells her specifically how to defeat it.
There is only one way to stop him.
How?
Four-leaf clover.
You're nothing but a frog.
Oh, this is where your bullshit meter goes off? So then, Ruby has a sick friend named Tammy, and while Ruby is out, Tammy finds Ruby's leprechaun gold just sitting out in the open, and then, moments later... So for whatever reason, the filmmakers have decided the leprechaun should be impossible to understand, even when he's delivering several lines of dialogue. But don't worry, I've taken the liberty of providing subtitles.
What are you?
What is it?
What?
Don't play games with me. The devil spawn took it. Me gold. What is it?
So the leprechaun uses his magical leprechaun powers to twist Tammy to death, I guess? He then finds the gold that was literally right next to him the entire conversation. I guess his magical powers don't include the ability to see shiny objects 5 feet away. So now that they know their friends are missing, Marshall thinks rich guy John is the one who's killing everyone, as revenge for them keeping his gold.
That's what we were gonna do.
Marshall and Carl go to confront John.
Listen, just stop what you're doing and leave us alone.
But the mystery is soon solved when the leprechaun shows up at John's place. And John's reaction is priceless. Like, what even is that? Are you posing for YouTube thumbnails? Rich guy reacts to a real-life leprechaun. The leprechaun chops Carl in the leg with a hatchet. Then the leprechaun does another magic trick. And John's mouth is turned into... Honestly, I don't know what this is supposed to be. It looks like vomited up cat turds. Yeah, we're just gonna leave really slowly. Just gonna take our time getting the fuck out of here. So there's this moment I need to point out. The leprechaun is stealing John's soul. You hear the leprechaun's dialogue. Then it cuts to John. Did you hear that? If you listen closely, you can hear someone off screen reading what sounds like the leprechaun's line from the shot before. Meanwhile, Ruby and Tim are waiting at Carl's house. Tim hears a noise outside and goes to investigate, even though he is well aware that they're all being targeted by someone. For a full 3.5 minutes of this movie's 80-minute runtime, we get an uninterrupted scene of Tim slowly wandering around the backyard, like checking sheds and whatnot, until the leprechaun finally shows up.
Please don't do this.
Give me it back, now.
This can't be happening.
Me gold.
I don't have it.
Where is it?
I spent it. No, please don't. Ah.
Finally, someone's screaming, although I don't know why he's not trying to run. This leprechaun is dousing Tim with gasoline, and he just sits there. I mean, come on, dude. You know what's gonna happen next, right? Upstairs, Ruby decides to watch a YouTube video.
Oh, hey, Cryptors, it's me, the daddy of doom!
From this guy who is apparently an expert on the Leprechaun.
The Leprechaun, true or false?
Even though most of the things he says don't match up with the Leprechaun we see in this movie.
However, although the legend goes, he is friendly.
This thing goes on for like 3 minutes, and it's basically just a lore dump.
The Leprechaun is said to have stolen a bucket of Leviathan's riches and fled to the mortal world.
So Ruby blew off the hippie medium guy, who actually seemed to have some useful information, but she's willing to listen to some random weirdo on YouTube? Have you seen the morons that post on this site? Ruby and Misha go outside and find Tim barbecuing in the backyard. They also meet the Leprechaun, who lets them escape for some reason. They then go to a church because they think it'll protect them from the Leprechaun. Ruby goes outside to find a 4-leaf clover, and she finds one after only like 10 seconds of searching, to which I call BS. You're telling me the woman who searches like this found a 4-leaf clover in under a minute? No shot. Back inside, Misha is praying for protection because apparently Jesus doesn't get involved in leprechaun business. Because
Ain't no God gonna help you.
So Misha somehow gets herself trapped in this fenced-in corridor like an idiot, while the Leprechaun slowly pursues her. And I mean slowly pursues her. Oh my god, I hate this movie so much. The Leprechaun can teleport! Why is this happening? The Leprechaun wants to kill her! Just teleport over to her! If you need to build suspense by having your villain act like an idiot and not use their abilities for no good reason, it's not suspenseful, it's just stupid.
We use this 4-leaf clover to kill it.
Ruby and Misha escape to the woods, but of course, now the Leprechaun finds them instantly. Ruby fights back, but gets cleavered to death. Marshall and Carl come running to the rescue, which is pretty amazing considering the last time we saw Carl, he was getting chopped in the leg with a hatchet. Unfortunately for Marshall, he's instantly done in with the Leprechaun's dark Jedi powers.
Ready to pay back your sins and join the club.
Marshall, I can't see.
The Leprechaun is about to kill Carl too, but Misha rushes in and offers the Leprechaun a pipe.
Oh, where did you get that from?
You can have it if you want.
Oh, you're not all thieving bastards then.
Which he accepts because he's a heckin' idiot.
I put something special in. It's got 4 leaves and it's green.
You did it.
It's over.
So the Leprechaun is killed by smoking a 4-leaf clover. Whatever. But the film is not over yet. We cut to a few months later. Misha and Carl are in their new home that they bought with the remaining Leprechaun gold. Carl goes upstairs to the bathroom, but
Should have given it back.
the Leprechaun steals his soul. I know it's the end of the movie, but why does the Leprechaun suck the souls out of some people, but other people he just straight up murders? Downstairs, Misha's water breaks. Now, remember she was pregnant. And she instantly collapses to the floor, like her legs stop working the second it happens. Now, I'm no OBGYN, but really? Then the Leprechaun comes downstairs on one of those stair lifts? Did Misha's pregnancy make his legs stop working too?
Go on then. English harder.
So that's how the movie ends. Apparently, there's a sequel to this called The Leprechaun's Curse. So maybe I'll have to watch another one of these stupid things. But thanks for watching, and if you like this video, here are some other ones. Subscribe for even more. And until next time, later, Danger Seekers.